Punk Revolution now. Today we're going to review Nilüfer Yanya's new album, Painless. Nilüfer Yanya. What a cool name. Very unique name. I like that name a lot. I don't actually have too much to say about Nilüfer Yanya before diving into this review, other than I found this album because Pitchfork gave it a Best New Music. That's right. I am guilty of being a Pitchfork drone who only listens, well, I don't only listen to Best New Music, but if they give a Best New Music, I'm going to listen to it, even though I'm open-minded and I'll listen to it, and maybe I'll like it and I won't. Maybe I won't, because I don't force myself to like it if it has a Best New Music, and I don't force myself to dislike it if it has a Best New Music. I use an open mind, even though I'm very aware of Pitchfork's role in the whole machine being owned by Condé Nast, and now Bandcamp is owned by Epic Games, and Condé Nast and Epic Games are working together on Wall Street! So let's start by taking a look at the album cover. This album cover is a kind of trippy picture of some sort of city. I'm not sure what city this is. It kind of reminded me a bit of Brazil, given the somewhat tropical trees you can see there, but I don't think it's Brazil. My mind went to Brazil because that's one area of the world that I've traveled to a number of times that looks remotely like this, but I don't think it's Brazil. I looked it up, and Nilüfer Yanya is Turkish, so maybe this is like around Turkey. I don't know. I've never been to Turkey. If anyone can recognize where this is on the cover, let me know in the comments. I see there's like this big advertisement there of Nilüfer Yanya. I'm wondering if that is a subtle critique or comment on Western advertisements being pushed into the global south or something like that, or maybe I'm reading too much into it and maybe it's in France or something and there's none of that. But regardless, I don't really care that much about the album cover. It's fine. It's kind of a trippy, but it doesn't appeal to me that much. So let's go ahead and talk about the music. Musically, this is certainly a blend of very interesting styles that kind of pop out to me. I don't really see blended too much together. I'm definitely hearing some like dancey, alternative rock 90s guitar in there. I mean, Nilüfer Yanya is from the UK, so I do kind of, that was definitely a big thing in the 90s, alternative rock with some danciness in it, and sometimes we're getting that in like the drums and the very clean guitars that kind of have maybe some chorus on it, playing these jazzy chords that are real, and the way that bass comes through a lot with the jazzy guitar tones and a lot of the additional kind of crap mixed into the production definitely gives off like a King Cruel vibe, especially since this is very singer-songwriter-y. Got that jazzy kind of singer-songwriter thing blended together with this like alternative rock, shoegazy, indie rock kind of thing, but then with a little bit of post-punk kind of thing, and then the vocals, Nilüfer Yanya's vocals sounds a lot like she's kind of replicating a lot of what I've kind of heard in R&B and pop, like maybe it kind of actually reminds me a bit of like Billie Ellish, honestly, like very whispery, kind of quiet, like kind of talky vocal delivery. That's just kind of like a lot of stuff going on, and I can definitely pick lots of artists that kind of jump out in my mind at some points that I'm hearing similarities to. King Cruel, a lot of the guitar work where they're playing these jazzy guitar chords, major 7, minor 7, C major whatever crap. Reminds me of certainly a decent amount of Radiohead, especially in Rainbow's era. I'll actually go as far as saying the song Stabilized is actually kind of like irritatingly a ripoff from In Rainbows, the arpeggiating guitar chord, and then the real dancey kind of fast forward drums. Oh my god, this is just, you take Jonny Greenwood from Radiohead, you make him just play almost like a mockery of it, just a much less interesting, way less interesting chord changes. Like it sounds like they want to play like Jonny Greenwood, but they don't know how to like move their hand around the guitar very well, so they have to play a very dumbed down version of it, and it's just like, that kind of sucks. The guitar tones sound fantastic. The production sounds great when the guitars get kind of fuzzy or like reverby, ambient-y, when it kind of brings in the elements of shoegaze. Sounds like the Antlers. Very great production, but it's just like, I'm kind of annoyed. You're bringing in these trendy guitar chords that are playing these jazzy chords, this jazz pop R&B singing, and then you just kind of just lather on all these kind of production tricks. But where are the memorable melodies? Where are the memorable lyrics? Where it's just like, I'm not feeling any cohesion whatsoever amongst any of these elements. To me, it just, I hate to say it, it just reminds me so much of when I was at NYU, and there's all these freaking kids who studied music with their expensive ass guitars, who knew all the production tricks and everything, and they knew how to play these major 7 chords, and then they just kind of made the most fucking, like, unlistenable crap possible. It just sounds like you're blending together a bunch of trendy stuff. And it actually, this is from the UK, and it definitely does remind me a decent amount of like the rock we're seeing from the UK lately. Black Country New Road and Black Midi and a lot of these experimental bands that I don't really like, that I do like, but a lot of the time it really rubs me the wrong way because it just feels like they're just picking bands that are trendy from like the 90s and putting it together into a package. I feel like this is like that, but poppier and less cohesive. I will say the song Midnight Sun does stand out as one of the better songs, like actually a really solid song. There are some, like, a few solid songs here, like the opening track is great. There's like some good songs here that are kind of like using this formula, and then sometimes actually like coming out as a good song because maybe the melody is more interesting, maybe the chord progressions are better. A lot of these chord progressions throughout this album just feel like they're stuck. Like they just can't, like they're just stuck playing between 2 chords back and forth the entire song, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is such a slog. What is this? Radiohead in Rainbows combined with Billie Eilish vocals combined with expensive production and cheesy guitar playing and cheesy chord progressions that are actually quite boring. Some kind of shoegazy stuff coming in here that does, it's just like as if someone had an idea of, I like these bands, I'm gonna put them together. But they didn't listen. They didn't listen to how the things came together. By the second half of the album, it's like, okay, I see what you're doing here, but like the songwriting just kind of goes even further downhill. It's just left with just the cheesiness, trendiness. It's like literally designed for it to pop up in your Spotify algorithm and go like, oh, this reminds me of Radiohead and the Antlers and my favorite 90s British bands and post-punk and King Cruel, which are trendy bands because I've seen it on Pitchfork, and Pitchfork says this one's trendy too. I'm gonna pat myself on the back, listen to this for 2 weeks, and never return to it because none of the songs here are memorable or meaningful or emotionally connect with you whatsoever. I usually don't like to give such a critical review to an artist that isn't either super famous or isn't one I'm very familiar with, but I just felt like this was such a good example of so much stuff, so many trends I don't like about modern music, especially modern music coming from the UK, from these freaking music school kids. It feels like an industry just cranking out, like, let's find what's popular in the Spotify algorithm and then make these kids go to rich, expensive music schools and then make them combine these genres into this very expensively produced album. But, like, there's no skin in the game. You can make this expensive sounding music with no skin in the game because it's gonna be able to be pumped into the freaking algorithm and everyone's gonna listen to it regardless because it has all the ingredients of the trendy music. But, like, it's not like back in the 70s or 80s or 90s or any time where it was really expensive and really risky to make music, so you had to actually make sure every song was really fucking good before you threw it out together in an album. This album feels like it's just like a lot of just churning it out. So I'm giving this a 4.4 out of 10. Even though my review was very critical, I still wanted to give it a 4.4 because, like I said, there are some songs here. There are some songs here where I'm like, oh, you know what? This chord progression and this melody kind of weave together in a beautiful way. And even though the ingredients behind it feel like kind of real regurgitated from other stuff, I can at least kind of vibe with that, and it is a unique blend, even though I don't think it's blended cohesively. It is a unique blend. I think Nilüfer Yanya is pretty talented, but I'm not like seeing anything in this album that really exceeds at accomplishing really anything. I wouldn't write this album off completely if some of those influences I mentioned speak to you, but this is the opposite of groundbreaking. It's showing exactly how not to innovate music. It's just showing, I don't know. I don't want to be too much of an asshole. I can't help it though. It's my job. I don't like this album. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like, comment, subscribe, it helps my channel grow. I'm sorry for being so critical. I know a lot of you are going to like this album and then you're going to yell at me in the comments, but I don't care. Punk Revolution, man!